I think it's important to recognize that you can't have 100% security and also then have 100% privacy and zero inconvenience.
This is a dragnet, it's an overreach, and we've got to find out why this is justified, simply because the NSA wants to do some data mining.
Charles, we have a Tweet the Panel question tonight, and I'm going to give it to you. Karen Gallivan sends this in. Obama says federal judges can be trusted to keep data mining PRISM programs honest. Why, when his administration got one, meaning a judge, to sign the Rosen warrant?
She's absolutely right, but it's mostly the fact that you can't trust the administration, that it went to a judge with information that now says was false, meaning that he was a criminal co-conspirator, Rosen was, when they say they had no intention of making a criminal case involving him. So they were the ones who gave the judge false information. The trust issue has to do with the executive and not the judiciary here. And there's also an issue of being straight with the American people. You showed the clip of the president saying you can't have 100% security and 100% privacy. Here's what he said in his first inaugural address. We reject as false the choice between our safety and our ideals. So here he is, the Olympian, the messianic redeemer who's going to abolish all the conundrums of our politics, which is the conflict between security and liberty. And now all of a sudden he discovers that there really is a conflict. In fact, look, every 9-year-old knows that our entire Constitution is a way to try to resolve the issue of the liberty and security after the failure of the Articles of Federation. So that's the essence of our politics. Here's a guy who comes into office and denies it, and now he admits it. And he only admits it after you get a leak, after all this is open. Tucker is right. The real issue here is the secrecy. Here's a president who, a few weeks ago, gives a speech, and he essentially says the tide of war is receding and the war on terror is done. He wants to abolish the authorization for the use of force. So on the one hand, he says the war is over. On the other hand, he's conducting an extraordinary, massive anti-terror program, which he is expanding. And how does he justify that? The war on terror is over. Why are you running a dragnet? And that he never discusses, and he thought he wouldn't have to discuss because he kept it all secret.
Former Bush spokesman Ari Fleischer today called it George W. Bush's fourth term. The president seems to be going to great lengths to say this is not George W. Bush.
Well, it's interesting. One of the ways it's not George W. Bush is, even though the activities of the NSA are about the same, there is congressional authorization for this, with maybe insufficient, but some judicial supervision.
Actually, that started under Bush.
Yeah, that's
the Bush administration.
That's true. But they did it without authorization first. Then it got
9/11 happened, and they had to do something.
Yeah, okay.
Lightning round. Every week we let the viewers decide with your choice online. This week's winner, upcoming Supreme Court ruling, is a very timely choice by the viewers because of the fact that the Supreme Court only has 3 more weeks till the end of June. Charles, there's another big case out there. Are you going to pick that one?
Oh, yes. It's the only big one left. Same-sex marriage. I think, and the court has to decide if it's going to nationalize it, declare it a right, so that everybody can do it in every state, and all the state laws are struck down that prohibit gay marriage. I suspect after the experience of Roe and abortion, where they did the same thing, struck down all the state laws, nationalized an issue, and created 40 years of instability and discontent and disenfranchisement. They will not attempt that with this, and they will leave it as they should to the states.
Gentlemen, well, it's interesting. The stock market loved this and thinks that that means the Fed is going to keep stimulating the economy, and the stock market rose, I think, 175 points today.
That's because the job creation here is weak enough. It's about 175,000. You need 250,000 if you want to reduce unemployment. So it's way under that. So if the economy is weak enough, it bets that the Fed will keep pumping in the money. And if it does, stocks will go up. And that's why the market rose today.
And Charles.
Chuck was nearly right about the winner. It is Hezbollah because it joined the battle in Qusair, which is a strategic town that Assad has now regained. But it was Hezbollah that crossed the border and did it. Assad's army is demoralized and weak and couldn't do anything. Hezbollah started out 20 years ago as a small militia. and it's now a regional power, and which is astonishing. The loser is the Democratic Party. It's the party of government, and we have had an explosion of displays of what the government does and what it can do, sort of a circus of extravagance, waste, incompetence, and now with these new revelations, sort of hints of ominous control and looking into your life.
This has been a Sunfish production.